Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm very excited to show you a little bit more about SafetyHQ and how it can help reduce your job site risk. We got a few folks. This is always about the time when folks are kind of trickling in. So we'll probably get started here in about another minute or two, if you guys don't mind. So just give us 1 second and we'll get going from there. But thank you again and hold tight. We will begin shortly. Thank you again. Alrighty. Cool. Well, we still got folks joining in. We will let them kind of catch up as we go. I apologize, but I know we are kind of on a quick schedule today, especially over the lunch hour here too. So I especially appreciate all of you guys taking your time out of your day to learn a little bit more about SafetyHQ and what we can do to help eliminate some job site risk. My name's Eric. That's me. I have some contact information below. You might want to take some of that information down. I'll go back to 1 second. Let's go back there for you. If you want to take any of that down, feel free to reach out to us at that 800 number or me at that edv@foundationsoft.com. If you have any questions, if you'd like to schedule some more time to get into some more in-depth questions, I'm happy to do so after the call. Again, we'll kind of just be touching on some high-level items today. We're going to try and keep this close to a half hour. We might be a little bit longer than that. But again, if you'd like to connect after this, please don't hesitate to reach out, and that's how we can be connected. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit more about SafetyHQ and how we can help reduce on-site and job site risk to your employees as well as financial risk. So we'll talk about both of those items as we go here forward. Just a couple of items that we have in SafetyHQ. I'm not sure if we're going to hit all of these today, but SafetyHQ can provide customized forms, which include inspections, JHAs, AHAs, anything that you guys might need. So plenty of custom forms, toolbox talk maintenance, tracking, attendance, completion, all those items. We can track and manage certifications. We can assign out lessons, track incidents, produce an OSHA 300A out of here, document storage, equipment storage, a lot of things on SafetyHQ here too. So if we don't hit all these today, at least gives you a little bit of a feel for some of the items that we can provide and some of what we got going on here if we don't touch it all. But I think the best way to show you guys what we can do in SafetyHQ is to actually get in here and show you. So let me pull my screen up here so we can see a little bit of what the software has to offer. This is a progressive web app, so we can download and install this onto any mobile device. You can put the app onto your tablet, your phone. I'm going to be showing you everything from the laptop today, but the laptop and the tablet view are going to be roughly the same. So the view that you would have right here is going to be the same view as what you would see on a tablet. If we go to a phone, it'll be somewhat similar. You'll see a lot of the same icons, items. It'll just be kind of broken up in a little bit of a different fashion. So regardless of whatever mobile device you're using, it's functional and accessible. And then this can be used in offline mode, so your team can use this even in jobs that are limited self-service, things along those lines too. So those are just some quick basics on the program and the app itself. But let's talk about reducing risk and what we can do, especially using SafetyHQ, maybe using some other solutions to eliminate both the risk, or at least reduce the risk for both your employees and you guys financially. So let's talk big picture first, right? SafetyHQ can do a lot of things in here. We can do a lot of forms. We can do a lot of these items as it is. So some of you guys may be running into jobs where general contractors, customers, whoever it might be, are asking you to provide things like JHAs, AHAs, site inspections, maybe regular toolbox talk evidence, things along those lines. Number one, we want to have a way that we can easily manage and administer all of those items. SafetyHQ is a great way to do so. We can pull all of those those items into one place, distribute them effectively and easily to your team as you go. But it's also going to store and maintain all that information so that we can provide it at any point, right? So we can share that information with anyone who needs to see it. Heaven forbid OSHA comes on site at any point and wants to, peek at some of the items that you got going on. You can pull up things like certifications, any completed forms, all at the tip of your fingertips, and you can reduce the risk financially of, potential fines, things along those lines, or, potentially not being able to work a job or win a job or continue, or even getting paid on a job because you can't provide these elements to somebody who's asking for them as you go. So that's a big piece. There's a lot of financial incentive to add things like a safety software. One is the lowering of your EMR. Our software is proven to lower your EMR. That's a great way, once you get your experience modification rating down, to lower your workers' comp costs. So there's some definite savings there from a workers' comp perspective, and many insurance companies actually provide a credit or an incentive to add a program like ours as well too. So something to keep in mind. But let's talk, we can talk fines, we can talk all about the financial limitations and things like that all day, but let's talk about actually reducing risk out in the field, right? The biggest things that we run into when we speak with our clients are, I can't get my team to do the safety activities that I need them to do. A, they don't want to do it because it's too cumbersome. B, they don't want to do it because you're not going to follow up on it. You don't have really maybe a structured process to see who has and has not completed the items that you're asking them for. Or C, maybe there's a lot of different items in a lot of different places. They just don't know how to follow it, and they want to participate. They just can't because things are a little bit scattered about. SafetyHQ brings all of your safety items into one place and makes them simple and easy to use. If this isn't simple and easy to use, the team's not going to do it, and you're not going to get the participation and the results that you're looking for. A really nice example, I'll pick Toolbox Talks first, is one of the most universal items that occurs on every job site out there, and that's Toolbox Talks, right? Maybe it's a Toolbox Talk, maybe it's a tailgate talk. Maybe it's a safety meeting for the day, whatever you want to call it. There's 1,000 meetings and names out there as you go. But when we have our Toolbox Talks here, we have a full library that we can share with you. You can add your own. But the nice piece is once I get in here, I can select a Toolbox Talk, present it in English or Spanish, and I can assign this out to individuals to perform at the job sites that they're at, or allow them to select their own. So as a really nice tool here, I can go ahead and select all my foremen, and I want them to review this Toolbox Talk, I don't know, we'll say next Monday, 9 o'clock. Sounds like a good time to review a Toolbox Talk, great. So next Monday at 9 o'clock, all of our foremen are getting a notification both through the app and their email letting them know that they've been assigned a new Toolbox Talk. They select that notification. They hit the big yellow can't miss it button designed for construction fingers. It's a big one right here. Great. Select the project that they're working on. Hit next. Review the topic as you go. Obviously, you're going to discuss that topic with your team. Sign off that you've completed it. And I can go ahead and collect some signatures right here from all of my employees that were present. We can take photos of signature sheets. We can do other items if you got bigger groups. We can assign this out to individuals if you do your Toolbox Talks that way. But we have a lot of flexibility here for you to access these in any way, shape, or form that you might need. So, number one, reducing risk. You can do so by keeping your team up to date on continued education items, continued trainings. Toolbox Talks are a fantastic way to do so. So we get that one in there right here. Again, how do I get the team to continue to participate in these? Number one is by checking and reviewing that these are getting completed. So I can see right here all of my toolbox talks, all of my team members here. And let's see, I've done 2. The rest of my team hasn't done any, so maybe we want to send them a notification. That follow-up is really, really key to make sure that your team knows that this is something that you guys value, that you guys, find important, and that you guys are really emphasizing as a business. Because if nobody follows up, nobody's going to do it. That's really the big incentive. If they know that you're looking, they know that you're getting into this on a regular basis, that certainly helps. And you can go from there and make sure that the team's doing what they need to do. You can review this from a bigger perspective to see how they're looking from, I don't know, we'll go here. I'll pick myself. Yeah, we'll pick me. That'll be best idea. You can see how somebody's been completing them over a time period. Again, we can notify them. We can route in, managers, superintendents, whoever might need to review that as well. And then if I need to review these toolbox talks at any time, share them with, somebody who's on site. Maybe it's a customer, what have you. I have that right here. I can review the evidence of that toolbox talk. I can produce a nice professional PDF. Not sure if you can share this on WebEx. It sometimes looks a little bit goofy, but we can share that. We can share that PDF with whoever might need to review that, with your company name, logo, colors, all that kind of stuff. And then we can sort and review that by date range. Maybe you want to grab all of them for a particular project, maybe for a date range, maybe by superintendent, what have you. All of this is sorted and organized as such. This is a good time to mention, if you guys have some questions, I just saw one pop in here. If you guys have any questions, pop them into the question box. I will get to them all at the end, or at least as many as I can, and happy to get to any after the call as well too. So if there's anything that we can't get to, happy to connect with you guys after we review this webinar also. So that's toolbox talks, right? How do we reduce risk? We get people to participate on a regular basis. We build that safety culture. We follow through to make sure the team's doing what they need to do. And then we have all of that there readily accessible and presentable to share with whoever might need to review that. That is a really strong start to any safety program as we get going. Now, the next step for most folks is forms, right? We have a fully customizable form module. I won't show you all these. I would love to on another time, what have you. We have a number of templates in here. So even if there's an item that you don't see that you might need, we certainly have that. If you get into a circumstance and say, hey, you know what, I got a particular JHA that my general contractor requires me to complete, perfect. Send that to us. We'll build it to customize exactly what you need, include that in your library for you. No additional cost. It's ready to roll. So if you got some particular forms in here that you don't see, great, we can customize them. If you guys are just looking to get started and you need some help, we have some really strong templates organized by specialty or trade for you as well too. So either way, we can certainly get you going with whatever you might need. I'll pick a JHA as an example. That's a good one to get started on. I'll go ahead and pick a project. I'll pick this overhead job, which is a bad example, but then we'll go with it. The big piece that I've mentioned a few times now is simple and easy to use, right? So how can we reduce risk? It's A, getting the team to focus on what they're doing. B, actually complete those items. And we do that by making this simple for the team. So in this JHA, I'm going to go ahead and pick these tasks, all customizable, but I'll go ahead and say, set up and load of materials. Based on the selections that I've made, I'll hit next. It will show me the specific hazards related to those items that we're going to be doing, right? So if I pick fall protection, maybe, I don't know, environmental, great. I'm looking outside. We got some snow here in Cleveland, Ohio right now. I can go ahead and say I got some falls. These are some of the concerns, and this could be a lot lengthier. This is all customizable as we go from here too. But it keeps the team focused on really the tasks or concerns that they're going to be dealing with. We can leave this open-ended for some tasks that maybe you can't foresee, some miscellaneous type items as well. We can also make this a fill in the blank or writable. I don't think writable is a word, but you can type that in if necessary as well. But you'll see it's only going to show them controls based on the hazards that we're dealing with for the day, right? So we picked a lot of these particular items. It's keeping them focused on what they need to keep working on or what they need to be mindful of, either for the day or for the project, what have you. Great. I hit next. I can use things like voice to text in the comments. I can take photos. This would go to my camera or my camera roll if I was on my iPhone doing this, but I'm on my laptop. So we're going to use one of these stock images as an example here, but we can go ahead and snap a quick photo on the site and say, hey, you know, maybe this is something we want to be mindful of. And I don't know, I'm just kind of drawing on this example to give you a feel. Great. Perfect. Voice to text, signature, similar to what we have on the Toolbox Talks as well. I didn't mention all of these tie to the employee record as well too. So if we need to ever reference what an employee has been present for, things like that, we have all of that on their employee record. Great. And just like those Toolbox Talks, we can report on those to see who's getting these completed. We can pull those up by the project, the date range, what have you, all right here. Fantastic. And then again, I'm not sure if this shows in the WebEx or GoToWebinar, what have you, but we have nice professional looking PDFs that we can share with anybody who might need to see this as well too. So we can send off automatic email notifications on any of those also. So maybe you need to send those off weekly or per the job. You can structure those to go to whoever might need to review those also. But again, lots of things that we can do here as a whole. Equipment inspections that will update our equipment items in, you know, down here. I'll go to the side. I'll go ahead and select equipment. Any equipment inspections that will update that piece of equipment on the inspection date, update when that needs to be inspected next. These equipment items can be assigned to individuals, to jobs, things like that. So if you want to track and monitor them, we can see all the equipment history tied to that piece of equipment too. So maybe it's maintenance items, repairs, maybe it's inspection history. We have all that tied to the equipment. And then we can also see things like when it's overdue, you know, show us any in-service items, you know, show us any annual inspections, whatever we might need to review. We have that all at our fingertips to make sure that all of our items are in safe working order at any time too, reducing the risk of our employees, you know, potentially dealing with some items that haven't been inspected or that are unsafe for presentation or work or whatever that might be from there as well too. But I'll show you one more example here too, and there's a bunch. All of these forms are very customizable, but a nice item that I like to show is like a job site evaluation or an audit, inspection, whatever you might call it from there too. And the reason I like to show this is the communication gap that we can bridge with SafetyHQ. That's a huge component of keeping the team safe, is keeping everybody informed of everything that needs to happen, right? So I'm going to take a basic example here and say, hey, this first aid kit is not on the site. First aid kit's not on the site. We can prompt a corrective action immediately. So we can go ahead and add this new corrective action. We can prompt these. You can type these in, require them. These are customizable here as well. But I like to keep them prompted so that way we can keep the team consistent. I'm going to go ahead and add housekeeping because that's a leading indicator that we're going to want to track. Great. And I want to assign this out right now. So I'll go ahead and send that to Thomas. Great. Maybe I want Amy, our project manager, just to be kept in the loop. I could take some more photos there if I'd like. I can assign that a due date, what have you. And I can continue on with my inspection as I need. But all of those teams, all of the parties that need to be made aware of that deficiency on our job site are getting an automatic notification, which is key. That is so critical because there's a lot of folks that either won't mark down a deficiency because it's a whole lot of work to get somebody to notify it and update it and review it and what have you. Right now, I can continue doing what I need to do. I've marked the deficiency and my team will get notified so that they can address that situation promptly. So taking all of the headaches, logistics, emails, all that kind of stuff out of the gate, they'll still get an email, they'll get a notification in the app, they can complete what they need to complete. And just like the JHAs, I'll jump to like another section in this site inspection here just to give you an idea. All customizable too based on logic. So if I hit yes, it's going to show them some additional related questions. If I hit NA, we're not showing them what they don't need to review, which is really important. The easiest way to get somebody to check out of, either a safety item or any other item that we need them to participate in is to show them a bunch of irrelevant information. They get either confused, overwhelmed, maybe just flat out bored or annoyed with it. and they stop participating or they stop giving you the level of focus or detail you need. Keeping these forms focused on just what's important to the team, really critical, so that way you can get the responses that you want and need. And again, all those forms, you can sort and organize those by project, date range, what have you. You can see those reports to see who's completing those, and you can produce all of these in a nice professional PDF as well too. Those corrective actions can all be seen in here directly, so I can review all of those assigned and open items, maybe those high priority items. We can default this to be particular users, so anytime I log into this, I can see anything that's assigned to me. And then, you know what, maybe I want to use this for equipment inspections. You can route this all together so that your garage or your, your equipment team can see all of the outstanding tasks related to this. Perfect. But I think what's most valuable about these corrective actions is we have some automated reporting in here too. So my data is not great because I'm not using this in the field on a daily basis. But if I want to go ahead and review this, I can see trends, I can see leading indicators, and I can review different types of deficiencies, trends in the data, leading indicators, so that we can prevent injuries before they happen, which is the goal, right? That's what we want to do. This is all great, if it comes down to, some CYA and you have the appropriate documentation, what have you. But I think we can all agree the most important thing is keeping your employees working, keeping them on the site, keeping them safe, getting them home to their families in one piece, and then, them being comfortable on the job site. So if you see some trends, you see some items that might need attention, there's no better tool than having that information before it becomes an issue or before it becomes an accident or an injury that's costly to not only you, but obviously the employee as well. So a lot of information there that we can certainly review, and we can even get into further detail on this reporting as well too. We have a full SDS library. Excuse me one second. Getting over a little bit of a cold here, so I apologize. But full SDS library, you can review any items. Again, reduce risk by making this accessible to the team, right? Again, I don't know if you guys can see this based on the WebEx, but this is showing me my safety data sheet that I had to do a search and review. So much easier than going through an outdated binder that who knows where it's at on the site. I can just pull this up on my phone at any time. And if you add any SDSs, simply request them. We'll reach out to the manufacturer and get that included in here for you as well too. So kind of moving down the list here, another way to keep the job site safe and reduce risk is keeping your employees trained and up to date on best practices, and your company's practices on items, or maybe just safety trainings as a whole. We have lessons that we can provide to your team and share. You guys can also create and customize your own. All of these trainings can be shared to employees, similar to Toolbox Talks. We can provide a quiz to make sure that the team's actually following up and reviewing this information, actually paid attention to the training or the lesson that we provided. We can embed videos, things like that, to keep the team engaged, maybe demonstrate some items for the team as well. And as soon as they complete that lesson or training, that is automatically tracked in our certification area as well too. So right in here, I'll use this orientation as an example. Maybe that quiz is completed. It's automatically going to set the date completed. It'll next set the automatic expiration date as well too. So if you say, hey, this orientation is going to expire after a year, perfect. It will automatically update that and set the expiration date for you. So one of the biggest headaches that I hear from all of our teams is it's really hard for us to track and manage who has what certification, who needs what recertification, those items from there. Perfect. We can track and manage those all in here collectively. You can see who's expiring on certain certifications in the near future. You can share those certifications via QR code, produce a certificate, email those out. I can review a particular employee's certifications here. So great, let's see all those. Again, share that as needed. Here's all of the certifications. And we can even include photos of cards, things like that, that maybe we wanna, let's see here. Oh, I'm in the wrong section. We can also include photos of cards, items like that, that we want to show at any point too. So there's no there's no additional risk of that card or what have you being in somebody's wallet in another truck that they left at home, or blah, 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 whatever the excuse might be. We can present these at any time. Again, I hope that shows on the webinar, but we can present these at any time to eliminate any risk should OSHA or a GC come and ask us for any of those items at any point too. So, or a customer even for that matter. So we have all of it with us at any time so we can review that. We can also add trainings on the fly too. So again, keeping people up to date. Maybe the job site's really far away from your headquarters. They can include certifications from the field, including photos, things like that. We can bulk upload certifications. So maybe if you had, an on-site training with 100 people and it was all in person, you just want to include them, you can do that. And then we can also go ahead and set up automatic warnings and notifications letting you know, hey, here's who's going to expire in the near future, and here's what they're going to expire in as far as certifications too. So we can get really granular with that, notify particular individuals based on groups, date ranges, what have you. But we have some really comprehensive tools to make sure that nobody gets passed over when it comes down to a recertification that we need to stay on top of, things along those lines. So we touched on equipment a little bit. I'll just touch on these last two really, really briefly because I know we're kind of coming up to time and there's a few questions that I want to touch on. But documents here, a full document storage database. We can review and access any documents from the field, safety manuals, policies, procedures, plans, whatever those might be. Great. Again, we kind of talked about equipment, but we also have some incident reporting in here as well too. So again, when something becomes really stressful, it's a high leverage situation such as an incident, we can simplify that process by adding some automated notifications in here as well too. So I start an incident report. The team in the field is just going to give us some basics. They send that automatic this system will send that automatic notification to whoever is next in the routing process. They get a notification. Great. We take all that information that they've included, fill out the form. Whoever's next in line who's been notified of that incident can go ahead and review the treatment information, the days away from work, root cause analysis, witness statements, any of those things that we might need to collect that we don't want the field collecting. PDF this into a nice professional document as well. Sort and review this by date range, any of these characteristics that we might want to access and dig into deeper for our reporting and for our purposes. We also have some reporting in here to, again, help you guys use this data to make the best decisions possible and reduce risk, reduce injuries, accidents, whatever they might be out in the field. I'll go ahead and pick a range here as an example, and I can see trends by crew, by injury area, by root cause, by company, division, what have you. Review all this stuff further on the right-hand side. And I can even produce my OSHA 300A out of here as well too. So I know it's about that time of year, top of mind for a lot of folks. We can do all that automatically in SafetyHQ too. So a lot of ways that we can reduce risk on the job site by having this in your hands, making it accessible for the team as they go. But that's just a little bit of what SafetyHQ has to offer. I got about a couple of minutes for questions here. I see we got a few. I'm going to try and get to a couple of them before our time runs out here. Let me, I guess maybe before, I'll pop this back up on the screen here, make this accessible for you guys again. Should you guys have any questions that I can't get to today, make sure that you give me, you don't hesitate, give me a call, give me an email. Happy to help you with anything that you might need there as well too. So let's take a look at our first question here. Okay, this is from Dana. Dana is asking, can I set up permissions for my employees? So I don't know the details or necessarily what you might be looking for, Dana, but collectively, yes is the answer. We can set this up to, only allow certain employees to see certain projects, not a problem. If I only want certain employees to see certain parts of the module, for example, maybe I want those employees to just see their own certifications and just see SDSs. We can do that. They will not even see things like incident reports, things along those lines as well too. So yes, very flexible permissions, but in a good way. Certainly something we can do. And this is a company license as well too. So, you know, don't be afraid. For as many employees as you want to give access to this, you certainly can do so. That's a good question. Jared has got a question for us. Jared, I'm gonna try and plug a few gaps here, so I hope I'm on the right track as far as what you're asking. But Jared was asking, can this be used? I think it's an offline remote sites access offline mode. Yeah, so you can use this in offline mode, access this whatever, and this will automatically update when you return to self-service, things along those lines. Also, yep. David, good question. How is this information stored? So this is stored on our databases and our infrastructure. So 99.99 something odd uptime. So this is accessible for you as you go. You know, that data is redundantly stored. So your historic data is stored for as long as you may need that. And if you need anything, if anything comes up, we certainly have that. It's accessible. We can trim down the data for you if you don't want it all in your database as well. But you don't have to worry about maintaining this information, storing it on a regular basis. We got all that for you. You don't have to worry from there. Yep, great question. Alrighty, and I got maybe one more question, guys, because I know we're at the top of the hour. But again, if you would like to get into more detail, you have any further questions that maybe we haven't gotten to in this list yet, certainly don't feel, you know, don't hesitate to reach out. Give me a shout at that email below or this call, and be happy to connect with you. The last question is, what does it take to get this implemented, up and running? Kind of that's the vibe I'm getting from this question here from this item here. Yeah, so we do a lot of the work for you, right? That's the nice piece. It's pretty white glove. We'll get you up and running within 2 weeks, generally, for toolbox talks, things like that. As far as forms, other items, you know, the full system collectively, potentially 4 to 6 weeks from there as well, just kind of depending on your complexity, what your needs are as well. But we always tell you, just plan on roughly 4 to 8 hours of your time to get this up and running. And most of that is you telling us if we're on the right track, if we're customizing it to your needs, you know, if it's meeting your approval, things along those lines too. So we're doing a lot of the heavy lifting. You don't need to be a tech expert. You don't need to be a form building expert by any means. We're here to help with all of those items. And then, you know, we're not going anywhere after the implementation either. If you need to customize a form, make some changes from there, we're happy to do so, you know, as that continues as well too. So we're here with you for as long as you're a client, and that's all included with your subscription. You're not paying per form, you're not paying per customization, anything like that too. So fantastic, guys. That is all the questions. I know there's about 4 or 5 that I don't have time to get to right now. I tried to get to the most universal ones. It sounds like there's some individualized questions. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to get to you after this demo. Or again, if you want to take some time to schedule with your team or individually to review this, happy to do so as well. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys learning about how SafetyHQ can minimize and reduce job site risk. Hope this was helpful for you and your team, and thank you for taking the time.